So, for example, when I worked at Apple, right? Chris also worked at Apple, just made over $1 billion in the box
Wow.
office. So I'm assuming they're going to make a second one.
And ironically, now with AI becoming so prevalent,
This is tough to talk about, but Linkin Park, they debuted around the beginning of the 2000s. We have created a marketing campaign for them. Man, that just makes me that flyer just makes me, or that graphic just makes me so hungry and makes me want to, taste it, try it out.
Welcome everyone to the Decades podcast. My name is Ksenia and I'm a moderator of this episode and at the same time sales and marketing intern here at Job Like Marketing Solutions. Today we are diving into something that I think every single one of us has experienced, the moment when a song comes on and it just takes you somewhere, back to a specific place, a feeling, a version of yourself you had almost forgotten. And we are calling this episode From Mixtapes to Marketing, what moves us. And the idea is simple because the things that move us personally are the same forces that actually take us and make us buy and trust and stay loyal. So join me as always, the founder of Job Like Marketing Solutions, Job Black. Job managed teams at Starbucks, built a wineries wine club from 200 to 1,200 members while working for Terala Winery. Also worked as a business specialist at one of the Germany's largest Apple retail stores and has been running his own marketing company, the Job Black Marketing Solutions, since 2004, which is more than 20 years now. And today he's based in Germany, working with clients across e-commerce, SEO, social media, and brand development. And he is the founder, the visionary, and honestly, I think the reason this podcast actually exists. So Joe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Kazania. Awesome introduction. I love it.
And I also would love to welcome our guest and also Joe's longtime friend, investor, the trust and safety expert, Christopher Parsons. Christopher has spent over 2 decades leading teams across some of the most recognizable names in business, from Blockbuster and Apple to the cloud computing world. He spent 5 years as a senior manager at Apple, building brand loyalty, as well as working in many other companies while managing people, and today also serves as trust and safety manager at Akamai Technologies. And as I said earlier, he's a longtime friend and also an investor in the company. So I think, Chris, you bring like both outside perspective and the inside loyalty. Yeah, Chris, welcome.
thanks. Thanks for such a nice
Yeah.
introduction.
Let's start with the questions. So my first question is, if you had to pick one song that defines each decade of your life, what would those songs be and why? And when you hear that song today, what does it bring back? A feeling, a person, or a decision you made?
Aha, Take on Me absolutely is
Mm.
through the decade. So I was still a kid at that time. So being into music wasn't a thing then. But as I came of age, that song kind of came into my life, was still pretty relevant over the course of 10 years. So in the 90s when I'm becoming a teenager. And now fast forwarding, 30 years, that's still one of my all-time favorite songs. To me, it just captured like the sound of, in my opinion, the 80s, at least in the genre it was in. The visuals were kind of next level then. And then it was like a prominent figure for a long time on what used to be a big part of the music culture, which was like MTV and MTV videos. And because of the visual aspects and it kind of bringing the visuals and the music together, it stood out. So it's carried forever. I think it's a timeless song. I think it'll be popular for a long time. At some point, I think songs will start to sound like that one again. But when I think 80s, I think Aha, Take on Me.
Definitely a song that to this day always puts me in a great mood and gets me in a dancing vibe, is
Mhm.
Michael Jackson, Billie Jean. It's funny, like Michael Jackson died, I believe, 2013, but they just came out with a Michael Jackson movie, and my daughter Sadie got really into his music. So it just, like, I don't know, it just re-sparked.
Talk about
Um,
timeless, huh?
it just makes me feel alive. When you put on a mic, I told my daughter this the other day, when you put on a Michael Jackson record, I actually just bought her as a graduation gift from fourth grade, the Michael Jackson's Thriller on vinyl. So we usually listen to it in the morning, on the weekends, and we vibe, we dance, and it's just timeless music. Like, how, no matter how old the music is, it just continues to make you move and feel alive and feel good. And I mean, his music is still inspiring people like my daughter. She's 10 years old, and I think his movie just made over $1 billion in the box
Wow.
office. So I'm assuming they're going to make a second one because if you saw the movie, it like leaves off at a certain part of time in his life.
Spoiler
Um,
alert.
but yeah, spoiler, sorry. Uh, but and then fast forwarding, like this is tough to talk about, but Linkin Park, they debuted around the beginning of the 2000s. Limp Bizkit, got me slowly into this whole like rap rock movement, but when Linkin Park came onto the scene around 2000, 2001, I was like, oh my God, like this guy, they can rap, and then Chester can scream. He can do melodies, he can do slow music, he can do fast music, he can do electronic music, and it just Chester Bennington, like just like it inspired me want to make music and write music, produce music. DJ Joe Hahn from Linkin Park made me want to be a DJ. Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park wanted me to be a music producer. So, I mean, without these individual or bands or singers like Michael Jackson, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, I don't think I would be anywhere I am today when it comes to music. And luckily, with all of my music aspirations, I met Chris, and we were able to do so many cool music things together and make music together, create a music business together.
Yeah, I think that's really great that we mentioned it because that becomes a point when we talk about different audiences and how different audiences need different emotional entries. And I think my next question is also going to be to you, Joe, because since you have built a marketing company, do you think that the best marketing campaigns work the same way as a great song does? Like they hit something emotional before they hit something rational?
Luckily, I have Kazania on my team, not only as an intern, but she's also assisting me with clients. So we have a client, and their name is Crafted House, and we have created a marketing campaign for them. And one of the campaigns we created was a flyer about one of the products, and the flyer we created, like I tested it like with certain people in my life just to see what they thought about it. And of course, my wife told me that like, man, that just makes me, that flyer just makes me, or that graphic just makes me so hungry and makes me want to, taste it, try it out. So um, just like, just like with a song, if you can get some kind of emotional connection to it, then it definitely helps improve with, you know,
The rational part,
awareness,
right?
awareness,
Yes.
sales and marketing, getting people interested, getting people wanting to buy it. Um, then you mentioned in the intro that I helped build a wine club for Terrera. Challenges I faced in the beginning was trying to get the team on board, because in the beginning, when we were selling the wine club, the employees or the team were like, this is more like a chore to the owners, or do we really have to talk about it? It's losing us a lot of money. I don't know. So my job was to, get the team emotionally on board and figure out why is this service or product losing us money, and make it a profit generator, a sales generator, and not become a bird and not be a burden for the company, and make it fun to talk about to the customers coming to the winery. And I felt like when we broke down that wall and got through all those issues with everyone, then people were excited to talk about it. People were excited to pass out flyers, promote it, discuss it. And then, I don't know, like a year or two later, it went from 200 to like almost 1,500 members, because we as a company, we as a team were just more emotionally involved, more connected to the product, the wine club, and people felt better talking about it. So, and
Yeah.
I think that's what really led to its growth.
I'm pretty sure you balance between the emotional side and the like authenticity. Because I think Christopher would help us from the trust and safety lens. There is an idea that authenticity matters, and it does. And people can feel when something is manufactured versus genuine. So my question is, how does this parallel hold in marketing from your experience?
Tying it into what Joe said, so there's that emotional connection to whatever is being marketed. I don't think that will ever go away. And ironically, now with AI becoming so prevalent, you're finding that line for people where they feel the fake in something and they call out how something doesn't look real, feel real, it's not authentic, and it's almost pushing people back towards that like emotional human created bit of marketing or entertainment or really anything that's created by humans. So it's got to either fill a need, something that you know, if you see something that's being marketed, is it giving me is it filling something that I need in my life, or is there an emotional connection to it? And now that authenticity is as real as ever, as is it's like that feeling's louder than ever because of the AI movement that's
Oh,
happening.
yeah.
Can we say that marketing was more emotional than it's now, or it just was different? What did we lose when we went purely, I don't know, maybe AI or just purely data driven? Depends on the context.
Honestly, then I think it was easier to get that authentic feeling because part of the marketing, you know, what made marketing successful was eventually person to person, word of mouth. So if you captured a part of the audience, they would bring in the rest of the audience by kind of spreading the word about your product or service or whatever you had, which by itself just organically made it authentic. There was no other machine, social media machine, iPhones, digital, now AI. That wasn't really there. It was either on TV or on a billboard or a side of a bus, or you heard it from a friend, which, you know, was the most powerful piece of it. So what maybe we've lost is you can go company to individual easier now because of social media. You can generate, you know, marketing that isn't authentic through AI directly to the consumer, which then opens the door for people to get uh I don't want to say tricked, but they can be convinced about a product or a service without ever getting the feedback from the people around them or from people in the same space to see if it is actually good. Instead, ironically, people then will go online to find reviews. And then even finding reviews is tough because those are AI generated. So if you rewind it back to the 90s, all of that was out the window. You would tell me in person, hey, this is awesome. I got this. You should check it out. And that's it. That's where it ended. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think we've lost that.
yeah. So then give us some life hacks. What does making mixtape for your customer look like in 2026, both of you? Like what are the tracks and the touch points?
When you say making a mixtape for a customer,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking
I
about
mean,
like
we were talking like we were comparing the mixtapes with like the perfect marketing campaign. And so what are the tracks, the touch points in this case in 2026?
with Kazani, you know, with our company, uh, I feel like it's all about building a relationship with the client and really figuring out what their issues are. So, for example, when I worked at Apple, right? Chris also worked at Apple. You know, Apple, when we were trained, it's an acronym for sales and or for sales on the floor. So, approach, probe,
Present.
present, listen, and end. I mean, I still to this day,
Nailed it. Still
15
got it.
years, know it. You know, it's stuck in my head. So like that kind of like I still use it to this day. So when I talk to a customer, I can like when we were talking when we were doing the whole starting process with Crafted House, for example. I mean, we spent literally 5 to 10 hours just probing and listening to Camilo and Andrea. What is going on? What are your issues? What they had a lot of issues with previous marketing companies because previous marketing companies didn't really care about probing Kazania. They just cared about give me the money, honey. I try to spend a long time. For example, we had a client in Midvita. I mean, the process was like oh gosh, like 3 months going to different meetings, meeting with the director of marketing, meeting with the sales manager. Then with, like I said, with Camilo and Andrea, the first call was meeting Camilo, talking to him for a couple hours. Then it was talking to his wife. Then it was talking to both of them. With Tribe House, I have met with them, several times throughout the last 2 years and try to figure out, what issues are they having? What are they trying? So to answer your question, I feel like I have one real basic song for all of my clients, and that's like to listen to what their problems are, what they're looking for, their headaches, their goals, their aspirations, and then of course tracking all of that and step by step going through those or my going through our or my uh presentations of solutions and trying to see which one works the best. And then
Yeah.
and then go by there and then sing. Okay, so Kazania. So with Crafted House, their latest newsletter, we tried a promotion code. It didn't work as well as the first one. So we're not gonna keep just doing the same thing with the second one. We're gonna try another promo code or another promotion and see how it goes and go from there.
Kind of to build off of that, and this is something that Joe's really great at that I've seen is wanting that human connection, or building that human relationship, person to person relationship with the company. I think that's something naturally Joe has always cared about, and why kind of connecting it back to the bigger picture, why I think it's so important, and even drawing a parallel from the music angle is everybody loves a track they can listen to remotely. You can fall in love with the track, but you don't get the emotional response and the human connection from a track you listen to on your phone like you do in a live performance. At the end of the day, people want to see that live performance. You can feel the music in a live performance. And to me, that's the same as in business, building that human connection versus just having a remote online relationship with somebody. And
Mm.
ultimately that wins out at this point. This kind of keeps circling around the AI point, but maybe clients have identified that they want that human connection. So I think subconsciously, even if they haven't put it down on paper, as we want to build a human connection with whoever we're working with, I think people want that. I think they'll just find that. They'll value that over somebody who just cold emails them and only talks to them online and never meets with them face to face. That human connection ultimately is the most important thing. That's what makes you a lifelong fan, so to speak, just like the live
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think you also just opened for me a new chapter for like to think later that, for example, right now, Gen Z, Alpha, they all seem to, to at some point reach perfection or like not like imperfection actually, imperfection over polish. So I think that's actually what makes truly sense to me right now, because that's like the point, and that's how you also keep being authentic, like being true to yourself, to your target audience. And as you mentioned, Joe, just keep trying, and if something is not working, you just adapt to it, you optimize it again and again. Until you reach the result you were attempting to, right? And then my final question, rapid fire question, marketing tactic that felt authentic in its decade, but feels fake today.
I'll kind of always go back to this is I loved early 2000s into the 2010s Apple's approach. I'm not saying this because I used to work there, but I loved that their approach was um subtle, where they would put their products in movies and TV shows, and you saw the main characters using an Apple computer, using a phone. Nobody said anything. They weren't pointing at it. We've definitely all seen movies where it's obvious ad placement for like a Ben shows up in Jurassic Park or something silly like that doesn't feel real. But they did a great job of it being kind of its own background device. But then you kind of subconsciously always saw that product, always saw it in a prominent space that you were looking at. And then I think that eventually just kind of it became the product to go get. And it wasn't in your face, it wasn't loud marketing, it wasn't obnoxious, it was authentic, subtle, kind of built into what you're already doing every day without you realizing it. And then they exploded in that time period. They became such a huge company. If I remember correctly, they weren't doing any ads back then. It was all, and this also ties back to the word of mouth piece. They became a huge company without in-your-face ads, and this is before AI. Uh, I don't feel like that happens now. So I don't know. I can't say it's something that I don't like anymore. I just don't see it. Everything else now feels like it's all about clicks and getting things in your face as fast as possible, and everything has a
Impressions.
5 minute shelf life to catch your attention, otherwise it goes away. You can't even go to like a newspaper website anymore without
Oh
seeing
yeah.
5 billion banners all over the page. It's just gross. I don't like it. So I liked the opposite in the 2000s, what Apple did with that more subtle marketing than what we have now.
Right now, you have to pay, like, you have to buy memberships for the newspapers to be like in touch with this world and stuff. But I also had like one course in my university in Hamburg, where we were actually have an opportunity to talk with people to like businessmen. They were at the same time professional, like professors and businessmen at the same time. And actually, this subscription-based stuff and memberships stuff that actually made sense to me a lot because like you're paying for the better quality, for like some access, maybe with some censored access. So I don't know, like it's another topic to dive in, but I think you always like have to evaluate the pros and cons, and eventually you always have to pay for everything now. And I mean, yeah, economy just goes crazy, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true.
Ironically,
But yeah,
ironically, now you pay for subscriptions to not get the ads. It's like they use it against you.
yeah, it could be a great topic to discuss in the next episode.
Yeah.
Chris mentioned it like I miss, old school like radio where you would like sit by the radio and listen for your favorite song to come on. And sometimes it would take an entire hour until your favorite song came on. And then you would have to go and you love that song so much and you had to like, get a tape and then press the record button when the DJ starts playing it, and hopefully you get it from the start to the end. And then if you wanted to buy an album, you had to like, my brother and I would go to the nearby record store, Tower Records, Best Buy. I would get on my moped and drive there, or go with my brother in his car at midnight, and we would wait in line, and you would wait in line for hours to go get your album. And it was
Yeah.
like a party, man. It was a party, like waiting in line.
Joe,
And
I have an advice for you. Like, if you're missing that kind of condition, just remove your premium subscription of Spotify, and you will get exactly the same feeling.
Apple
So,
Music, yeah. There's nothing better like going to a coffee shop, getting a fresh cup of coffee, a couple cookies, a little sweet cake, and getting that newspaper Monday morning, reading the newspaper, the coffee shop
mhm,
vibe, the smell of fresh coffee. It's just something I miss, man. But
yeah. But I
the
like how Germans,
newspapers are
especially,
dying.
yeah,
The
I like
print
how
copy.
Germans, like, as you know, as a country where they still like really keep going with the papers and stuff. I think that's
Yeah.
actually like a perfect place to, as you said, as you did actually, you moved to Germany like for 15 years or for 20 years now, yeah.
2008,
Yeah,
yeah,
I have
almost
been
20.
experiencing. Yeah, I
Wow.
always when I go by bus and stuff, I always see people reading newspapers,
Yeah,
at
it's
least
definitely
one.
old school.
I could tell you as an American coming to stay there, my longest stint was for 1 month. There
Yeah.
were moments where I was like, "Oh, this is like I'm back in the '90s." We're
Yeah.
in a doctor's office and everybody's saying hello to each other and everybody's got their newspaper out. Nobody's on their phones. I was like, "Wow!" I went to a McDonald's and there was like families there and it was alive and it wasn't just like in and out transaction. I was like, that I appreciated that part of the culture for sure.
Yeah.
Good observation. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so before we wrap up, Joe, would you like to add anything and to share about what Job Like Marketing Solutions is working on and how people can connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, if you have thank you so much, everyone, for coming to check out our podcast. Please go to our website, jbemarketing.de. We just continue to grow our company, our podcast, and thank you so much for, riding along with us.
If today's conversation sparks something for you, that's exactly the point. And if you want your brand to do that, Joe and our team are the ones to call. And find all the links in the description, and we will see you in the episode 4.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Goodbye.
Bye.